And welcome in everyone to this week's episode of Craze's Corner. I'm your host, Zach, and we're going to be talking about some guys who we think are going to be second half heroes, guys who are going to come on in the second half of the season. They're going to help you get to the playoffs and maybe win a championship. So these are guys that aren't currently either running back 2, wide receiver 2, or quarterback 1, tight end 1. So these are guys that you'll be able to get them on waivers for a couple of them, guys you might want to be able to try and trade for before they start to go off. So you want to make sure you stay tuned for that. First, we got a couple of news stories we want to get into. Deshaun Jackson has officially signed with the Ravens practice squad. It's big news for the Ravens. They get a veteran presence in the wide receiving core that has been lacking. Their best wide receiver, Rashad Bateman's been dealing with an injury. So adding Jackson definitely can't hurt the Ravens team. And in an offense that's been looking for some wide receiver help, hopefully Deshaun Jackson can maybe get another year before he retires, but hopefully he can put up some points. Next story is that Taylor Heinicke is going to be starting in place of Carson Wentz. At least for now, Carson Wentz is going to be about 4 to 6 weeks with the hand injury. So Taylor Heinicke is currently going to be starting. We'll see if they switch to Sam Howell, depending on how things go for the Commanders. But currently, Heinicke is going to get the start. This should be a bump up for Terry McLaurin. It definitely can't be any worse for Terry McLaurin. So, we're hoping anyone who has Terry McLaurin is just hoping that this is a good thing for him. And maybe the Washington Commanders can string together a couple of wins. And the final story, we talked about him on the show last week. Marquise Brown is going to miss at least a month with the foot injury. It was originally thought to be a season-ending injury, but was later found out that it's just going to be about a month or so he will be able to return for later on in the season. Hopefully, if you have him, you have an IR spot that you can put him into, because otherwise he's going to be clogging up a bench spot. Maybe you look to trade him if you're 1-5 or 0-6. If you're down at the bottom of your league, you might need to move on from him because he's not going to be able to compete for you. But the Cardinals were able to trade for a new wide receiver in Robbie Anderson this past week. So we look to see him get more involved in the offense while Brown is out. DeAndre Hopkins comes back. I want to know, out of these wide receivers, you got DeAndre Hopkins, Robbie Anderson, Rondale Moore, A.J. Green. Which one's going to put up the most points rest of season? Let us know using the Media app. The Media app is a virtual press conferencing app that allows you to host a virtual press conference from your phone. You can post it to any social media platform you would like. You can tag me in it at Pro Football Craze or Media. We will see it. We want to know if you guys think DeAndre Hopkins is going to come back and be a stud, or maybe Robbie Anderson gets back to his deep threat ways and he's maybe Kyler Murray's favorite target. Let us know what you think. You can check it out on the Google Play and the App Store. And now let's welcome in Zach, Jeff, and Will. Welcome in, guys.
Oh.
Yeah. Do you guys think Robbie can get something together for the Cardinals here? Do we think that Baker was the problem for Robbie Anderson? Because that certainly is the way I lean towards this whole situation. I'm excited to see what he can do as a guy who owns him in a dynasty league. So what do you guys think?
I don't think he'll hurt. He came at the right time. A.J. Green is pretty much a non-factor. Rondale Moore has been missing in action. So I'm like, hell, somebody has to catch the ball. Maybe now that, Hollywood Brown is gone, maybe Robbie Anderson will be the man.
Mm-hmm. I'd certainly like to see it. He doesn't have to be the number one. He can catch the deep ball. Hopefully Kyler Murray is better at throwing the football than Baker Mayfield was when it came to targeting Robbie Anderson. He certainly can't be worse. So maybe he is worth a shot in some deeper leagues as a bench spot for now. And then you bring him into your starting lineup. If things start to go well, that's kind of where I'm at with him. 10-team leagues, you're probably not touching him. But if you're in a deeper league, maybe a 14-team league, you look to go pick him up in the hopes that he could turn it on in this offense. You agree with that, Zach?
Yeah, more of a deeper league kind of situation. I don't think I even even with the upgrade from Baker to Kyler, I'm not gonna go crazy putting Robbie Anderson on this like list of guys I need to get on my team right away. So
Mm.
let somebody else pick him up. If he becomes something, that's great for Robbie Anderson. You always like to see it when guys get a fresh start. But when it comes to fantasy, I'm just a little hesitant.
Yeah, I actually picked him up in the Fantasy Football Network Launch League today. It's a 14-team league, and there's literally no one available. So I was like, all right, well, I have Laviska Shenault sitting on my bench. He hasn't played in weeks. Might as well switch him out for Robbie Anderson in the hopes that something happens. And we'll see. They think there's a chance for him. It's definitely a better chance for him to succeed in Arizona than there was in Carolina.
That's for sure.
But let's move on to our picks. So we're going to go through 3 guys each that we think are going to be on. They're going to be able to turn it up the second half of the season. These guys currently aren't top in their position. So they're guys you might be able to buy low on. Guys you might be able to pick up on waivers for a couple of them, possibly, depending on your league settings. I just picked up one of my guys on waivers in a league this week. So there's definitely some situations where you can run with these. I'm going to start us off. I'm going to talk about a guy that we talked about a little bit last week, Latavius Murray, with the Denver Broncos. We saw him play 47% of the snaps last week in a game where he was being eased into the offense. He had 15 carries for 66 yards, so he'd average just over 4 yards a carry, which isn't bad. Nathaniel Hackett came out and said this is Melvin Gordon's going to start this week. He started last week, and it really didn't do anything for him. I think we saw that when they needed the ball, when they needed to run the ball, they gave it to Latavius Murray. Melvin Gordon struggled with fumbles, and really his yards per carry this year have dropped. He's in the 3-yard per carry range. That's not great. So what I've seen so far, I'm confident that Latavius Murray is going to either be the 1A or the 1B in this backfield, and I think he's going to get that red zone work. If eventually this Broncos offense starts scoring touchdowns, I know they really haven't been, but there is always that chance that maybe Russell Wilson decides he wants to play football or something. Maybe they fire Nathaniel Hackett and everything gets better for them. But I think Latavius Murray is a guy that with the bye weeks,
they need to.
With the bye weeks,
they do
coming up, I think Latavius Murray can turn it up second half of the year, and I think he can be a reliable RB2 for your team. Especially like we were talking about earlier in 14-team leagues, if you can get Latavius Murray, you can plug him in at your RB2 week in, week out. And I think you're going to be much happier playing him than a guy like Antonio Gibson, who's probably on his way out. But I think that I like Latavius Murray. I liked what I saw from him last week and his involvement in the offense. Are you in on Latavius Murray as well, Zach? You think he's the RB1 there?
Nope, I don't. I think it's still Melvin Gordon. He said that he had a good chat with Melvin Gordon or something like that. That was the headline coming out. So, I mean, I don't disagree with the sentiment, what you're saying. However, Denver does rank completely last in the NFL when it comes to points per game. So I don't think I want a big bruiser splitting time on the lowest scoring offense. But I can understand from the concept of like the second half hero thing at this point of the season where you start – basically like running backs just become so valuable, even guys like Latavius Murray. So I can definitely see a situation where he has a path to take over this backfield. So that's a guy you want to have on your team. So, but if I had to pick, I would say Melvin Gordon is going to be just classic Melvin Gordon and ruining it for the other running back.
That is very fair. There's a couple other guys that I think can turn it up. We're going to talk about them a little later. Some of you other guys brought them up, so I was like, all right. I think Latavius Murray, to me, I think he's going to out-carry Melvin Gordon, whether or not he's on the field more. I think he's going to get the opportunities. And like I said, if this offense scores touchdowns, it's going to be Latavius Murray and not Melvin Gordon. When it comes to clutch time, Nathaniel Hackett doesn't trust Melvin Gordon with the ball. We've seen that anytime it's important, it's Boone. It's been Javonte Williams. It has not been Melvin Gordon because Melvin Gordon likes to fumble. So we'll see what happens. But thinking second half, this guy is a guy who definitely can turn it up and be a key contributing factor to your team. And you would have been able to pick him up off waivers, possibly still can, or he's a guy that you might be able to trade for. Will and Jeff, anything you want to add here? Jeff, I know you want to talk about someone else on this team a little bit later. But what are your thoughts on Latavius Murray?
I think just like what Zach was saying, after hearing that news of Hackett having a chat with Melvin Gordon, trying to pat him on the back, I think it is going to be his backfield until he fumbles again, which is probably inevitable. So,
this week.
Exactly. I'm like, how can you be on the sideline sitting there talking about I'm ready to help my team and frowning and everything else when you cost them a game 2 games ago by fumbling 3 times? So I'm just, this whole team is just, Latavius Murray might be the safest thing on the team right now, even though that doesn't speak really highly of anything because he's not going to get you a whole lot as well. So anyway, that's enough till I get to my other thing, my rant coming later.
Stay tuned for the rant. It's going to be one of the last things we hear about today. It's going to be a good one. But Will, anything you want to add before we move on?
The real question is, watching the Denver Broncos play football, does it matter? Does it matter who the running back is? Maybe if they trade for McCaffrey or somebody like that, does it matter? They're scoring. Imagine being on that defense and you're only letting up 16 points a game. And this guy you brought in was supposed to be the savior.
Yeah.
I'm not talking about you, Russ. I'm talking about the head coach. If the moral of the story is what, ladies and gentlemen? It's not the coach, it's the quarterback. As far as, Aaron, I could coach Aaron Rodgers. Hey, Aaron, just go call the plays, do what you want to do. And so Hackett was a horrible hire. And I would not be shocked that this guy's supposed to be the offense. I could see if he came in as the defensive coach and they were only giving up 16. Okay. This guy was supposed to be and to think the Denver, that story this week, the finalist for the Denver job was Hackett and O'Connell.
Mm-hmm. Ooh. Yeah. Another team got the better end of that there. But we got our next guy here, the guy who's on Zach and Will's list. We're letting Zach and Jeff's list, sorry. Okay. This is a guy we're letting Jeff introduce for certain reasons. Go ahead, Jeff.
Kenneth Walker, running back for the Seahawks. Beast Mode 2.0. I think we saw what Rashad Penny was able to do. Kenneth Walker, I think, is going to do the same. But the thing about him, I believe he is going to be a healthier version of a great running back in this offense. Love what Penny was able to do, was pulling for him, even though I drafted Walker in every league and it was killing me watching him on the bench. When this injury came up, which I hated to see, but I was like, it is now Walker's turn to run roughshod through a lot of the defenses that Seattle is going to face. So, I think he's going to do very, very well. For those people that stuck it out with him, he is going to pay off. I'm looking at it, if not high yardage each week, at least a touchdown. So he's going to just be a solid contributor for this year. And that sometimes is what gets you over the hump, gets you into the playoffs, and could even produce a win.
Yeah, I think we're
championship.
We're going to see a theme here. We have a couple rookie running backs we're going to be talking about later. Zach, Kenneth Walker was on your list. Let us know why.
Big shocker. Rookie running back is super valuable for fantasy football all over again. It's about the safest thing in fantasy we've known. The guy owns the record for longest plays from scrimmage for both Michigan State and Wake Forest. This guy has college records for multiple schools. He's an impressive athlete, and the Seahawks are pretty much known for having running backs that are great after contact, like long burst plays. And Kenneth Walker was profiled as that exact runner coming into the league. So he's in the perfect setup. And I think this is what everybody wanted coming into the season. Once they drafted him, they're like, all right, we know Rashad Penny's going to be out by week 6. So just hold tight till then. Like Jeff said, the people that held on to him are certainly rewarded. Like we mentioned earlier, at this point of the season, running backs are just gold. And if you were struggling at the position and were holding on to Ken Walker, you definitely shifted yourself in the power rankings.
Yeah, absolutely. He's a guy who's going to get his volume now. He's going to be on the field a lot of the time. 3 targets last week, 21 carries. If that number stays anywhere near 21 every game, you're not going to be disappointed with his fantasy output. And yeah, I think the best way to help Geno Smith be a good quarterback in this offense is to run the ball. You have a running game, your passing game will come with it, and you can build off that. And I think that's what the Seahawks wanted to do with Russ, and I think that's what they're going to do with Geno. So I definitely like this pick. Will, what are your thoughts on Ken Walker?
Oh man, you got it. Look, as a football fan, even though as a Viking fan, Seattle, man, it hurts my soul some days saying the Seahawks. But watching that team and how much crap they took, and oh my God, Geno Smith, what are they doing? It is a fun team to watch. And Walker at running back as a rookie, I don't know how many people would have picked him as the number 1 rookie running back coming out of the draft. But in fantasy, I think he's going to end up being the number 1 rookie running back.
No, I don't think he can catch Brees.
I think they're really neck and neck.
I don't know. I just don't have – look, I could be wrong on the Jets. I just don't know how that goes later in the season. But looking at the Seahawks in the NFC, where everybody's 3-3, and any given Sunday, I just think this Walker's path to more fantasy points is there compared to Brees. Could be, might be wrong. I just think he ends up putting up more fantasy points at the end of the year.
He certainly has the better path for volume, because I don't think that I think Michael Carter is more of a threat than any of the other backs in Seattle compared to Walker. So from that point, I could see that.
Yeah, Brees just has a 50-point head start. And to me, I think he is the better running back when it comes to talent. I think he's more involved in the passing game, especially when it comes to PPR. I think that's something you got to look at. I don't think he can catch Brees. I think he can be the number 2 rookie running back, and I think that could be a top 15 finish. But I don't, like I said, we talked about it last week. I think Brees can finish top 5, and I can't see Kenneth Walker coming on super strong at the end of the season that he can get into that top 5.
Jeff, I'm riding with you, brother. I'm riding with Walker.
Hey, I like them both.
That's right.
I'm saying. If you look at it from
Seahawks country.
Seahawks.
No,
Let's fly.
I don't say anything like that.
Let's fly, baby.
I don't want anything happening to a wing or anything like that.
So Jeff.
Yes.
So they were talking about they think he can be the number 1 rookie running back. You said Dameon Pierce is going to be top 5. So do you think Kenneth Walker can outscore Dameon Pierce rest of the season?
Well, that's just the thing. Both Dameon Pierce and Brees Holmes have just had a huge head start. But if you take it from, his starting, I think they're all 3 will be very close in points.
If you were to start it now and then just go rest of season, I think the 3 of them would be pretty close together.
This is actually a great year for rookie running backs. It really is, man.
Yeah, it is. We still have 2 more to talk about on the show today.
Yeah.
But Will, let's move on to your next guy. We've already done Jeff and Zach's. We did mine. So who's your first guy you want to talk about? We talked about Jeff's team. Let's hear it.
I know. Look, every week I tell you that Viking offense is getting hot, and it's getting better. Because I'm going to tell you, if Kirk Cousins at the end of the season is going to be hot, if you're looking for a sneaky play, I'm just going to say it. We're talking about who's going to get hot at the end of the year. This offense is getting better each week. Just is. They haven't played a complete game yet. And Dalvin's starting to cook.
No pun intended. Yeah, and my team's fresh off a loss from the Vikings, so I could agree with Will in this sentiment. I think the Vikings offense is vastly improved from what we've seen, especially the last couple of years. I watched Adam Thielen cook my boy Xavier Howard in the end zone. One Jalen Waddle fumble away from a possibly sealing the deal. But at the same time, good teams always find a way. We could make a million excuses of why a team loses. At the end of the day, good teams win. So, yeah, I agree with that. I don't know who your player is, but I agree with the sentiment about the Vikings offense.
Is it Kirk?
He said Kirk. It's Kirk.
It's Kirk?
Yeah, it's Kirk.
Oh, I love
he
it.
Said
Yeah, I love it.
Yeah, Kirk.
You're asking me who do I think gets hot at the end of the season that could win you a championship? Also, to me, that thought is who is somebody I can probably get right now if it's not on my roster? Mm-hmm. Like you're not going to get Lamar Jackson or Josh Allen. No one's moving that trade. But who could I pick up if they're not on my roster? Who could be hot the last 3 or 4 weeks, 5 weeks of the fantasy season? Yeah, true. You're not going to get Justin Jefferson. You're not going to get Adam Thielen. So there's 2 Viking players you could probably pick up right now that you may be able to trade for without having to give up everything. It's Kirk Cousins and it's Dalvin Cook. But even after last week, I think people will be like, oh, Dalvin finally broke off a run. Is he coming? So what piece is in play that you can get? The only piece in play that you can get is the quarterback position.
And the Vikings are also on bye this week. So in, not quite as deep leagues, Kirk Cousins is probably on your waiver wire. Because a lot of people probably aren't keeping 2 quarterbacks, or maybe they are, but some people aren't keeping 2 quarterbacks. There's a chance they drop him for someone else. So you'll be able to maybe even pick him up off waivers. And if you can do that, I like that. I think he's going to be a guy. It's going to finish between number 10 and number 12. No higher, no lower. He'll be quarterback 10 or 12, somewhere in between. That's my
one of the best teams. The best teams I have this year in fantasy. Kirk Cousins is my quarterback because I drafted Trey Lance and did like the high upside guy, and then did the safe Kirk Cousins. And this is a 12-team league, so maybe in 10 teams he might be sitting on waivers, but he's been great. My team didn't skip a beat losing Trey Lance. I made the mistake of benching him last week for Geno Smith, but basically, Kirk Cousins, I like it. He's top 12 for sure.
Anything you want to add, Jeff?
No, I'm just mad at Vikings in general because you talk about guys that, you can't even find on the waiver wire. I'm stuck with Alexander Madison praying that something happens to Dalvin Cook. And you don't want to drop him because as soon as you do, that's when Dalvin Cook gets hurt. And I hate it because he's just taking up space on my roster, man.
Mm-hmm. But anyway. He might get traded. Hold on to him.
Mm-hmm. I don't think he'll get traded. I think, he'll stick around. He'll be there. Dalvin Cook will get hurt again before the season's over. Alexander Madison will have a game. Then Dalvin Cook will come back.
Yeah, exactly.
Happens every year. And so you just have to wait. Dalvin Cook, maybe he'll, struggle to get off the field one play. Trade him to someone right that moment, and you'll be good to go.
There you go.
But let's move on to another rookie running back. Who's going to be the guy I want to talk about here is the guy that you can probably get on your waiver wire currently. And this is a guy, especially if you have an IR spot, go pick him up now. The whole Cam Akers debacle in LA, terrible situation. Sounds like he's never going to play it down for the Rams again. Darrell Henderson, he's a pretty good back. Is he the answer? We're not sure. There's a rookie running back that these guys have that, Sean McVay was talking up a lot during the offseason. He was getting a lot of first-team reps before his injury with his sprained ankle. But Kyron Williams for the Los Angeles Rams is a guy that I picked up in our 14-team Fantasy Football Network launch league today. I stuck him in my IR spot because I was like, I need some running back help in this league. He might be able to provide me with some help rest of the season once he gets elevated off the IR. But I think he's a guy that's going to get super involved in what should be one of the best offenses in football as long as Matthew Stafford can keep his stuff together. Mm-hmm. And I think that he's going to get some volume. I'm not really scared that Henderson's going to come out and be this 90%, he's going to get 90% of the work out the backfield. I think Williams will get his share. He can be good in the passing game, which is something I like in PPR formats as well. So I think he's a guy that has a really high upside. And if you can stash him on your IR spot right now, with him coming back, not this week, probably not next week, but the week after that, if he can, they activate his 21-day practice period. Once he comes back, I think rookie running backs. We know the rookie running backs thing. We've already talked about one. We got one here, and we're going to talk about another one in a couple minutes. But rookie running backs are good for fantasy. In an offense that's run by Sean McVay, I think I like that a lot as well. So I think Kyron Williams is a guy that you need to stash now before it's too late, because once he gets elevated, everyone's going to be all over Kyron Williams and they're going to want him. So even if you pick him up now and you're like, maybe you're not so sure, when he starts to come back and when the practice hype and everything starts to look good, you might even still be able to just trade him away to someone else for a piece you might need if you're not comfortable with Kyron Williams. But I'm ready to ride it out with Kyron. So yeah, what do you guys think, Zach? You in on Kyron Williams as being a guy you could be able to plug and play down the stretch?
Yeah, probably wouldn't have fell so far in the draft if he didn't run such a horrendous 40 time. But he's an actual like PPR style running back, unlike Cam Akers, who's just not good at the running back position in general. So Kyron Williams definitely going to be a surgeon of talent. It could be a complete flop with these kind of like late round running backs. You have your Tyler Algiers kind of tier level players. So you never really know, but you do make a good point that if there's an offense that has shown they can at least get some sort of relevance from the running back other than this year, I like the chances of a Sean McVay offense for the rookie running back.
Yeah, it's opportunity. Whether or not he can actually pull through on this, I think he can. It's going to be tough. He's got to come back from the injury, but he was working really well with the first team in the offseason. He was getting a lot of first-team reps. He was about half of the first-team reps, which was something that was kind of eye-opening. It was like Cam Akers and Kyron Williams, and Cam Akers is now, he's probably gone. We'll see where he goes to. But yeah, I think Williams is just going to be a guy, as you said, PPR. He can get those targets. Matthew Stafford's not the most mobile quarterback. Maybe he starts dumping it off a little bit more. Henderson's not really a great receiving back. Neither was Cam Akers, as you said. So that brings another element to this offense as well, which I like. Jeff, what do you think about Williams?
I mean, everything seems set up perfectly for him. But I just hate McVay's use of running backs. Just like we saw in the playoffs last year. I'm going to stick Cam Akers in there, even though Sony Michel's been killing for him. It's just, you never know. So, I mean, seems like he would be the perfect fill-in, but then you still got to deal with Darrell Henderson, and then hell, McVay might say, Malcolm Brown, get in there. And take all the snaps. That is what's just killing me with the whole entire Rams offense as well. They seem like they are second to Denver right now with being a offense where you're just like, what is going on here? So,
yeah, I mean, it's an interesting thing, but with that whole Cam Akers thing was, Sean McVay was getting his guy the ball. He just drafted Williams, and if Williams turns out to be his guy, I think he's going to be the RB1 for this team, and that's the upside I think you get. So stashing him on your IR spot to me is a no-brainer. If you have the room, maybe you got already dealing with injuries and you don't have the room, and maybe this isn't the play for you, but if you have the room on your IR spot right now, I have him sitting in a couple taxi squads so far in Dynasty leagues. So if he ends up turning it up second half of the year, elevate him from there. If not, he can always come back next year. But I think Kyron Williams, low risk, high reward player. Anything you want to add, Will?
No, I just added him as you're talking. Went into one of my other leagues. I was like, that's a good idea. Let me bring him on and put him on IR and then go back and get somebody else. So thank you, Zach.
The classic on-air ad.
Yeah, hey,
exactly.
Yeah, that's why
that's how much I appreciated that advice.
There you go. So take what Will did. Go pick him up in your league. Throw him on your IR spot. Like I said, I did that earlier today. Will did it now. Maybe Jeff and Zach are gonna get in on the action. Go do it in a couple minutes. But I think he's gonna be a guy that
in one of my leagues. I can't see lie. I dropped Mason Crosby because since I got gosh darn it, Hollywood Brown occupying my IR spot, I was like, well, I'll just take him and figure out what's going to. It's a kicker. I'll pick up another kicker later.
Yeah.
The kickers aren't important anyways. You just drop them all from your league. But anyways, let's move from one rookie running back. Zach, let's talk about your rookie running back, who's a guy who I really like rest of season as well. Let's talk about Brian Robinson.
Yeah, we're gonna take command. We're gonna take command of this rookie running back debate here and throw Brian Robinson in the mix. I mean, how can you not like the story of someone being shot and coming back and then performing within a matter of 2 games back. First game, they get like 7 carries or something like that, maybe like 9 carries. Gets about double that the next game, gets the touchdown. He's about a 3.5 yard per clip runner. So I think you have a starting running back here. If you were one of those people, kind of like Ken Walker, if you held on to Brian Robinson in your IR spot, you're definitely going to be rewarded now. There's like rumors Antonio Gibson being traded. I'm not sure if that's legit or not, but either way, J.D. McKissic's gonna get his 12 targets a game and do nothing with it, and then Antonio Gibson is gonna return punts or something, and Brian Robinson will be the guy that falls in the end zone. I'm not sure if you're gonna get a ton of like PPR aspect from Brian Robinson. He has virtually no receiving game. However, he's a pure runner. The man was shot in the leg and has already scored a rushing touchdown in the NFL. So gotta like that. And again, for the millionth time today, if you can find yourself an RB1 that wasn't currently in your lineup as of the last couple weeks, so he was just riding your IR spot, or if you're lucky enough to scoop him up in as a waiver pickup, you definitely added some juice to your team that was not there a week ago.
Yeah, I agree. I think rookie running backs. We've harped on this for the beginning of the show, but this is a guy who you said it best. He's not going to get the PPR volume in the receiving game. That is where J.D. McKissic and Antonio Gibson will see their point in this offense. I think they'll end up splitting the third down work, but it's going to be Brian Robinson first and second down. 17 carries last week, as you said, and he got that touchdown. He was only on the field for 47% of the time, but they're still working him into this offense. So that's the number I expect to go up. We got Taylor Heineke in the game now for the Commanders, so we'll see what happens with this offense. But I definitely think that he can't be any worse than Carson Wentz was for any piece in this offense. So I think that this is a guy, rookie running back, RB1 for his new team. He's shown that, as you said, 2 weeks being back from being shot. I'm in on Brian Robinson. Love to see it. Have him in a couple dynasty leagues, and super excited that I get to see him come back out. Elevated him from my taxi squad in one league because I wanted to plug and play him this week against against Green Bay, and he got some easy matchups coming up: Indy, Minnesota, Philadelphia, Houston in the next 5 weeks, and those are all teams who are letting up lots of points to the running back position. So you're going to be able to start him each of these next 5 weeks for sure. Jeff, what do you think about Brian Robinson? Are you in on this rookie running back too?
Very in. He's on most of my teams. Matter of fact, it might have been Zach that sniped him from me. Somebody else has sniped him from me in the League One league, which I was like, damn it. But yeah, man, speaking of this past week, I had both Pierce and Derrick Henry on bye. And I plugged in Walker and Robinson, and they got me wins in most of my leagues, man. So it was just like didn't even miss a beat. So, these guys are the guys I love. They get volume. They may not be really heavy in the PPR game, but they get massive carries. They're considered a bell cow. And that's what I love.
Yep, and that's the difference between finishing in third and finishing in first, right? Is having the ability to shift from your 2 running backs on bye to replace them and not skip a beat. Like that's when we talk about the segment of like heroes, like those are your heroes. The guys that save you on bye weeks or when you have injuries. So, yep,
absolutely. Will, any thoughts?
Man, now I'm like, wish this advice would have came out before the draft.
I think
running back's been hard this year, guys.
It has,
right? It wasn't as clear as we all thought it was. Not just us, but everybody, right?
Yeah, I would say going forward this year, my best teams. I'm sure, like Jeff, you can probably agree to this too. My best teams this year are guys that I stockpiled at not only the running back position, but made sure to grab rookie running backs. Like I have a Breece Hall and Damian Pierce team. I have like I have one with all 3 of them on it too. So I think this, from the one advice we talked to, like, it's funny, Will, you just said that, like, I wish I knew this before. Like going forward, let's just make it mandatory that we walk away in our drafts with 1 rookie running back. And no matter what, we hold on to him. Doesn't matter if it's week 12 he's going to be, the number one waiver pickup. So
That's it.
Yeah.
Yeah, these teams are drafting these running backs for a reason. They're going to get involved.
Yeah.
They like the talent, and these teams they have a need at the position most of the time, especially teams that have a need at the position. If you can get a rookie running back there, they don't have to be top of the depth chart to start the season because they'll work their way up.
Because if you would have thought like in July we were doing the show and someone came on and said, hey, a week before the trade deadline, they're going to be talking about Cam Akers being traded, McCaffrey being traded, Gibson being traded, we'd be like, what? Like, I mean, McCaffrey was the many guys' number one overall pick.
Yeah, right.
not this guy. Not this guy.
I mean, he's been doing better than Jonathan Taylor so far, so I will take him as my number one overall pick.
That's another one, right?
Yep.
Whether or not he gets traded, he's still putting up points for you. So I'm okay with the whole Christian McCaffrey trade talks. He still get me fantasy points. So I'll take it. At least it's not Jonathan Taylor, who's already missed 2 weeks with injuries. I don't know, some guy who's supposed to be injury prone. Yeah, exactly. Like, no running back is safe from injuries. That's what I was trying to tell people. There's the same chance Christian McCaffrey gets hurt, Jonathan Taylor get hurt. All running backs have this risk of getting hurt. I'm not passing on Christian McCaffrey just because everyone thinks he's going to get hurt. But yeah, rookie running backs. You would have come on the show at the beginning of during the offseason and said, all right, Dameon Pierce, Kenneth Walker, Breece Hall. Brian Robinson, you guys are all going to be talking about these guys as, being rest of season, week 7, top 15 running backs. They were like, nah, you're crazy. And now look at where we are. All these rookie running backs, plus add on Kyron Williams as a guy who we just talked about. Rookie running backs, you need to get them in your draft. We definitely learned that this year with all the guys we've talked about so far. Our next 2 picks are actually going to be from the tight end position. I'm going to let Will start, since Will picked a rookie here and Jeff decided to not stick with the whole apparent rookie trend. But Will...
I didn't either.
I think he was one of the steals of the draft. It was Greg Dulcich. If you watch now, not folks watch Pac-12 football, but if you watch Pac-12 football, you were very aware of the talent that was going to get overlooked by a lot of folks in the NFL because they devalue Pac-12 football. That's just the truth. And yeah, he was wide open. It was an easy read. He's been on IR. I'm telling you though, watching that Broncos offense, that's the guys I think starts getting a lot more catches. And I think defensive teams are going to be like, he's a rookie tight end. Let's see. And for whatever reason, watching that game, Russ cannot throw the ball downfield. Like anything over 30 yards is tough. So the guy either be wide open or something's wrong with Russ's arm. And
his shoulder.
It's clear as day, right? I know he couldn't step into a couple of those throws, but Russ of old didn't have to step into those throws. He had the arm strength to go. And I just think it's great for the tight end position in Denver. And I think in a couple of weeks, this will be your number one tight end in Denver. And I think he'll be getting a lot. I think he gets you 3, 4, 5 receptions and a touchdown a game. Mm-hmm. And it could be the difference. It could be the difference between winning and losing. And he's probably, I don't know if he's still available, but he was probably available on your waiver wire as of this week.
Yep, I picked him up in our 14-team fantasy football launch network league today. Made some moves in that league this morning, but as he already is the tight end 1 on that team now, they decided not to play Albert at the tight end position. He was a healthy scratch. Dulcich was on the field 71% of the time.
Yeah.
His first game back from injury, his first game to ever play in the NFL. Yeah. He already was on the field a lot, super involved. He started at the tight end position. They rotated him in and out, which I expect to see less and less of as he continues to emerge. But this is a guy, especially if you play in a tight end premium league. I know our Dynasty League got that half-point tight end premium. Always love to give the tight end some love. But I think he's a guy that's going to be valuable down the stretch. Zach or Jeff, anything you guys want to add on Dulcich?
No, I think Albert's last name was too hard to pronounce, so they were fine. Like, Dulcich, get in there, man.
I've heard so many different pronunciations of Albert's last name. I don't even try anymore. He's just Albert.
Albert Obawakenam is the closest I can get to it.
I was listening to the game on the Monday night game, and they were pronouncing it like I'd never heard anyone pronounce his name before. I was like, what the hell are you guys even saying? It took me a minute to clue into who they were talking about. I was like, what the heck is this? I thought it was Albert Aguebanom. And then the way they were saying on Monday night, I was like, what the heck?
It's like it's just like rookie running backs always hit for fantasy. Missouri players never work out in the NFL. Just you can add Albert O because wasn't he a teammate of Drew Lock?
Yeah.
So yeah, you can kind of see where that's heading. So yeah, I like that. He's definitely going to be the tight end one for again the lowest scoring offense in the NFL. Which again, talk about things we wish we would have known going into the draft this year. Was how terrible the Broncos are. But yeah, I mean, he's like a spicy TJ Hawkinson.
There you go.
Jeff, let's talk about your tight end pick.
Well, can I say this? I have a rookie, and I actually deleted him and then inserted a veteran at the last minute, and that's because both of them were kind of priorities on my waiver wires this week. Can I just say both of them?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yes. Double jeopardy.
Rookie, David Bellinger. Picked him up. Yep. I've had him in our League One league. He is starting to pick up, actually be used a lot by Daniel Jones. Scored a couple of touchdowns. His targets are starting to increase. So I think, as we know, it's the new head coach's name that came from Buffalo, Daboll. Yeah.
Bowl.
I think he's starting to go ahead and realize that they don't have any other receivers, so let's throw it to the tight end.
Yeah, I mean, so the two guys you're talking about at the tight end position are possibly the wide receiver one on both their teams.
Exactly. So that's the rookie. The second guy that is coming on like gangbusters is Robert Tonyan, because you're hearing I don't know. I think it's more just complaints from Aaron Rodgers, but with Cobb going down, this is the next security blanket that he has. It's a holdover that's been there with him for a few years, and you can see the targets rising. So, and I think that target share is now going to continue to rise with Cobb being out. For some reason, he doesn't want to throw the ball to Dobbs anymore. I don't know what the hell's going on there.
The thumb.
A-Rod, yeah. So those are the two guys that I think are there. If you're looking at their target share, it's starting to rise on both. And I think if you need a tight end, I have Dallas Goedert in a lot of my leagues, but since he's on a bye this week, those are the guys I went after to fill that void.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think that's a good pick here, especially with Tonyan. He is probably the number one target on this offense. 12 targets last week against the Jets. Rodgers is dealing with his thumb injury, as Will said, and he seems to be most comfortable throwing the ball to Robert Tonyan. Doesn't matter where he is.
Mm-hmm.
We've seen him in the past. He made his money off of the touchdowns. This year, he's making his money off the targets. He only has one touchdown on the year. So if this Packers offense can get any sort of rhythm going and they can start to score, Tonyan will not only see his 10 targets a game, but him and Alan Lazard are going to probably split the red zone targets, being top for the team, and that could turn into be some more touchdowns down the stretch, and that's something you're really going to like to see out of your tight end position. As for Daniel Bellinger, I think Ken Dorsey has done a great job calling the plays for the Giants offense so far. Ken Dorsey was the guy I wanted to come be the Panthers offensive coordinator.
Didn't work out. Be your head coach.
He could. I would not be upset if we brought Ken Dorsey back to Carolina, to be honest. I love me some Ken Dorsey. He's been doing great, so I like the way that they've been getting Bellinger the ball. As I said, he's their number one target. He seems to be, and Tonyan seems to be their number one target for Green Bay. So I like both of those guys. Zach, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, two guys are the direct result of having a mediocre to bad, in the Giants' case, bad wide receiver core.
Bad.
And when you have Daniel Jones, who's kind of more of like I don't think he's been as mobile this year, but he is a mobile, kind of lacking in the arm strength category. Those type of quarterbacks generally rely heavily on the tight end. You look at like Lamar Jackson, Mark Andrews kind of situation. Not that I'm comparing Daniel Jones to Lamar Jackson, but you can kind of see where the connection's made. So those are great picks.
Will, what are your thoughts?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yes, sir.
I like Bollinger better. I think the upside's way more.
Will's just hating
Agreed.
on the Packers.
No, I agree. Tanyan's
No.
just a bust all the time.
Yeah, because defense is like, look, if you watch that Jet Packer game, there's so much fundamentally wrong with the Packer offense. I don't know how much longer Aaron can make it through the season, and that's people should be really concerned about that. His numbers are way down. That offense, right?
Well, if things aren't going well, he's going to turn this thumb injury into a season-ending injury.
Right. Just despite the management and the head coach. So then what does Tanya look like with God knows who's playing quarterback?
Jordan Love.
Like I said, God knows who's playing quarterback. So the Giants are doing this. Yeah. The Packers are doing this. I'll take the tight end doing this.
I just keep expecting the Giants to just start going down, and they don't seem to be.
Right.
They will.
I'm waiting for Daniel Jones to screw themselves over. It's going to happen. I don't trust Daniel Jones.
Yes.
I like the coaching staff the Giants have assembled there with Wink, Dorsey, and DeBoll, but I don't trust Daniel Jones. I'm just waiting for this offense to just come crumbling down on the back of Daniel Jones making some dumb decisions. Makes me nervous, just like watching the Jets play so good so far. I'm like, this isn't legit. Zach defense. Wilson's been terrible. The Jets can't keep
the defense. It's the Jets.
It has been. It's been the defense for both of those teams, but the offense isn't going to be able to compete for too long. You know, the scary thing is that both the Giants and Jets offense has looked better than the Broncos offense so far this year. And that's the reason they're winning games.
All other 31 offenses have looked better than the Broncos.
Well, if you've watched the Panthers offense, we have not looked better than the Broncos offense.
Scored more points.
Right. We have 3 defensive touchdowns, which is why we're
okay.
We have had
which is still more entertaining than the Broncos going 3 and out for 45 minutes straight.
But our offense has scored the least amount of points out of any offense. Our defense just likes to make up for it because, we love our defensive touchdowns. Exactly. But, let's move on. We're sticking with the Panthers. Sam Darnold is coming back, guys. And you know what that means for DJ Moore?
Receptions.
We're going up. You're
going to keep benching him.
Receptions. PJ Walker playing again this week. DJ Moore is not in your starting lineup. Sam Darnold comes back the week after. Maybe you don't play him first week of Sam Darnold being in there, but I think Sam Darnold's going to play much better than Baker has so far, and he's going to earn the starting job the rest of the season. I think it's a guy that Wilkes is going to like better than what we've seen from Baker, so I think that Sam Darnold and this DJ Moore connection we're going to see. We saw it at the beginning of last year when Sam Darnold was playing well when Christian McCaffrey was in. DJ Moore started off with 12, 18, 17, 27 half-point PPR points in his first 4 games when CMC was there. So that's something I like to see again. It's a different offense for sure. Ben McAdoo is going to find some way to screw it up eventually. But I think that Ben McAdoo realizes he's got to get DJ Moore the ball. They've got Christian McCaffrey involved. Now his next step needs to be to get DJ Moore involved. And once he gets a quarterback that can throw the ball, it's really all he needs. PJ Walker had 1 pass completed beyond the line of scrimmage in the last game. I think he threw 16 completions. He had 16 attempts, 10 completions, and they were pretty much all screens. I think there was a slant in there. Yeah. Screens to Christian McCaffrey, DJ Moore. DJ Moore had 7 of the 16 targets, but because they were all screens, it meant nothing. So I think, and his farthest shot, which was like a wheel pass to Christian McCaffrey that PJ Walker absolutely missed. So when Sam Darnold gets back in this offense, it can only get better. And for DJ Moore, I think it gets a lot better. So I think he's a guy you can probably go buy low on because whoever has DJ Moore is like, I don't want this guy on my roster anymore. He's a guy that can only go up. His production can't get worse than 3 for 7 with PJ Walker. And with Baker Mayfield, it wasn't much better, but the targets are going to be there. PPR, he's going to put up some numbers. We'll see if the offense gets moving and get some drives together to score some points when Sam Darnold comes back. I think they'll be much better. I think he can probably get to about 5 touchdowns on the year if he has 4 touchdowns once Sam Darnold comes back. I think that's a reasonable number. And with the targets he's going to see, he's going to be a guy you're going to be able to start as your wide receiver 2 or possibly in your flex spot and just get consistent points every week because he's going to get the receptions. What do you guys think on DJ Moore? I might be a little biased in the thinking, but I think the targets are going to be too good to pass up once Sam Darnold is back. Zach, am I crazy for believing in DJ Moore still?
Maybe the holding him until Sam Darnold returns part, maybe. And the reason why I say that is because we've been holding DJ Moore and benching him, I feel, now for a little bit, and it's been really tough. And I put out like a post about the same thing, hold DJ Moore. Like he's still too valuable to cut. But I can see where we start getting to the point of the season where you have to start making decisions as far as cleaning up your bench. And it might be tough to hold on to a guy like DJ Moore when you'd say you're trying to sell me on 4 touchdowns for the total season. It's just, and that's what his average or his season high is, 4 touchdowns.
I think that's around his average. He hasn't really had any good quarterback play.
And I'm not sure that's going to change before the end of the season.
No,
so for those reasons, I'm out. Shark Tank, but no, it's tough. If you're in a 12-team 3 wide receiver league, you can't cut DJ Moore. Anything less than that, in my opinion, you might be able to.
Yeah, I think Sam Darnold's going to be back week 8. Sam Darnold looked good in practice today. Wilkes does not want to rush Sam Darnold back. That's why they already announced PJ Walker is going to be the starting quarterback this week. So I think Sam Darnold plays next week, which is why I don't think you really have to necessarily wait that long with DJ Moore. Just hold him another week. Let him play with Sam Darnold for a game and see what it looks like. If it looks terrible with Sam Darnold, then I'm probably ready to move on unless it's a 3 wide receiver team or a deeper league. But I think it's going to look better with Sam Darnold as the quarterback. And that's pretty sad to say that Sam Darnold is going to transform an offense. But realistically, he's going to be a much better piece on this offense.
Well, you look at last season, when he started at the first half of the season, Darnold was actually playing pretty well.
Yeah.
Christian McCaffrey was healthy.
He was a young Mike Vick.
Maybe they keep
he was.
Exactly.
A young Mike Vick.
But isn't
without
this
the dog
crazy?
fighting?
It's like looking at Darnold with the whole quarterback competition with Baker Mayfield. It's like, I know how I'll win this quarterback competition. I'm going to go on IR, and I'm going to let Baker play. I win.
Genius.
Man, isn't
Who's
that
seeing
crazy?
ghosts now?
It's crazy. Man, I'm so glad he didn't go to Seattle. Oh, my God. Anyway, I just want to throw that in there. More Baker hate.
Yep, I'm in for it. I love Baker Mayfield hate. I never wanted Baker Mayfield. I never thought he was going to be great. Kyle and Corey from Fantasy Football Network, go check them out. Boom Bust. Big Baker Mayfield fans.
Bought a Panthers Baker Mayfield jersey. That's how big
Kyle
of a fan
bought
I am.
a Baker Mayfield jersey.
That's
he showed it to me last
That's
weekend.
what it is. That's an Oklahoma connection. Those days are over.
Yeah. They're definitely over. Will, do you think DJ Moore can start putting up numbers once Darnold's back?
Remember what I said about Denver and running backs? Carolina and offense.
Carolina and football.
Yeah,
No, we can play defense, guys. Hold on. We can play
You guys
defense.
can.
Yep.
Unfortunately, you have to play defense a lot.
Yeah.
With that offense.
If you're Carolina players, this coaching staff is all gone. Gone. No one, there's not going to be any held over pieces. This is going to be a complete rebuild. So
Even
you're
McAdoo?
you're either playing not to get hurt.
Especially McAdoo.
Right? You're playing not to get hurt. If you're in the last year of your contract, you're auditioning for other teams. So that just look, I don't blame these guys. Are you really going to play all out? I mean, they're professionals. They'll play. Are they really? I mean, I think Carolina's all looking at their watch like, can we get to January? Because I'm ready to go on off season now.
See, I don't think that Steve Wilkes has been with this team forever. All the players who've ever been coached by Steve Wilkes love him. I've seen so much outgoing support for him outside of Robbie Anderson, obviously.
That's what I was going to
But
say.
outside of Robbie Anderson, every player has come out in support of Steve Wilkes, and I think that he's a guy that's going to be able to motivate these guys to stay playing.
And it's radioactive. I'm not touching nothing from that mess.
And you said people are going to be trying out. People are going to be trying to get themselves.
I don't think if I'm DJ.
Sam Darnold has to come out and prove he needs a job next year.
If I'm DJ Moore, do I really need to come out? I'm going to be on the team.
Right.
Yeah, he'll play. He'll be good. I'm not worried about DJ Moore saying, "Nah, I don't really want to play anymore."
I'm not saying that he'll be on the field.
He's not going to pull an Allen Robinson.
Oh.
Who showed up last week? Finally,
yeah, he did show up.
I wanted to make him my
show.
pick so bad. I wanted to make him my pick so bad here over DJ Moore, but I was like, I feel like we talk about Allen Robinson every week. I won't talk about him this week, but I wanted to make him my pick for this segment this week.
Do you think Allen Robinson overheard Odell conversations happening in the hallways and said, "I better play this week"?
He looked good last week. He was making the catches he made. So the catch he made in the end zone was a catch that him and Matthew Stafford had tried to connect on about 5 times so far this season. It just didn't work over the back of the defender. It worked this past week. We saw him make that really good catch on the sideline. Allen Robinson is still a good wide receiver, whatever the heck you guys want to say. And I'm still
Oh my God.
I kept him everywhere, and I feel pretty good about it. I'm going to roll him out in
Not bad.
A couple lineups.
Every 6 weeks, every 6 weeks, he'll give you a good game.
Yeah, and what 8? Well, that means you only get 2 good games in the fantasy season. So I don't know
which has been his resume his entire career.
I think he's gonna be more consistent rest of the season.
Oh, here we are.
10
minutes into Allen Robinson.
Him and Stafford are going to continue to build the connection.
I'm sorry.
They're going to continue to build the connection they got going, and Allen
all
Robinson might just be a sneaky wide receiver 24 by the end of the year. He might sneak into that low-end wide receiver 2. Ooh, we'll see. We'll stick with the wide receiver position. We'll move on to another team that's rumored to be bringing in Odell Beckham Jr. Travis Kelce just freed up some cap space, talked about a possible OBJ to Kansas City reunion. Zach, which wide receiver from this wide receiver core you want to talk about?
Yeah, well, this will be a dance battle if Odell gets to Kansas City. So I'm picking Juju Smith-Schuster, a guy that's seen his snap share improve the last 2 weeks, and finally gets that nice touchdown, shows off that, big body breakaway ability Juju has in there. If you look at the schedule, you got San Francisco this week, you hit the bye, and then you get a bunch of good games. And if you just look back, he 8 targets almost every game, except for 2 this year. And in the one game he didn't get 8 targets, he scored a touchdown. All wide receivers are inconsistent, especially when they first join a team. Second half of the season, I think you could see the Kansas City Chiefs and a bunch of high offense game scripts, and someone's got to reel in those touchdowns. I like Juju Smith-Schuster, and he's a good depth piece for your wide receiver core. You have those fringe wide receivers that you tend to pick up and drop like every other week because they don't end up doing anything. I think Juju is a solid guy that you may not want to potentially feel great about starting every week, but if you don't feel like cleaning up your bench so often, he's a good guy to have on there.
Yeah, so I'm going to use the same arguments I used for Allen Robinson for Juju here. New quarterback wide receiver connection. It's taken a little bit of time, but we're starting to see things work out for them. As you said, he scored last week. They were able to connect. He only had 5 targets, but he had 5 receptions. The week before, it was 8 for 3, 8 for 5, 8 for 5. So we're seeing these connections happen. You said first-year quarterback wide receivers, sometimes it takes a little time to, get on the same page. Allen Robinson and Matthew Stafford, Juju and Patrick Mahomes. I think, they're both there. They're both going to start to see their work increase. And I think they're going to become more reliable down the stretch. So I like this pick.
Well, if they get Odell, they can trade MVS right back to Green Bay.
Jeff, Will, anything you want to
add? Yeah, I'm good.
Yeah. I like Kansas City's going to do something because their current wide receivers. What they going to do?
They're definitely trying to keep him out of Buffalo's capable hands right now.
Yeah, be smart.
If I was Buffalo, I don't know, man. I mean, that's a move just to keep him from somebody else. Because I don't know. If I was Buffalo, I'd get McCaffrey. That's just me. Even though that kills my Cook running back situation this year, but
yeah,
if I was Buffalo, that's
He had that touchdown a couple weeks ago after they were up 400-0.
Look. Game 1, first carry fumbled. That was it. Oh,
That was it. Yeah, done.
from the coaching staff. Nah, dude, get back here.
Yep.
Killed it. Just killed it.
Yeah, he did.
That's it.
He did kill it. Will, let's move on to your guy here before we finish with Jeff's guy.
Oh,
Jeff's guy's going to have a big rant.
Is this the rant? I'm pre-rant. Okay, I'm going to keep it simple. So look, Gallup.
Yeah, you're
Dak
pre-rant.
is back. Dak is back. Gallup is getting better each week. I just think if you're looking for somebody that you can get cheap right now, maybe I don't know if he's on a waiver wire. I think he's owned most leagues, but you could probably get him right. And so I think Gallup's going to put up good numbers for the Cowboys the rest of the season, especially with Dak back at quarterback. So go get him.
I think that would be a good trade for them to send Gallup to Denver. Wouldn't that just work in the whole thing? Let's ride. Let's Gallup. Maybe Russ will change that. Russ. Anyway.
Yeah. Only Michael Gallup's the missing piece in Denver right now.
There it is. Let's go.
Yeah. Russ's whole let's ride thing doesn't work unless you can Gallup.
Yep. Broncos country.
I like the pick though. I like the pick.
You ever do anything dangerous?
I got a lot of Michael Gallup stock in some dynasty leagues, so I think that this is a good.
That was a guy.
That is dangerous.
If you were patient and kept him on your roster, kept him in your IR slot, I think he pays off for you at the end of the season.
Giddy up, cowboy.
Yeah.
I mean, I think Michael Gallup has to stay on the team because I think it kind of works.
Yeah.
For the Cowboys as well, the Gallup thing.
Yeah, the Gallup thing.
I mean, they're riding horses too, so I mean.
Come on, man. The cowboy hats and the boots. Come on now.
Or we could send him to Indianapolis. Or the Detroit Pistons. Maybe he can play basketball.
Okay.
All right, we're done.
This is okay, come on, Jeff. Let's get with the rant.
It's actually staring at us.
Uh-oh. Zach, you there? Okay. All right.
I'm
He's
here.
back.
I'm here now. Jeff, it's time for your rant.
It's still Thanksgiving there.
Let's get the rant.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, I want the rant.
Oh, God.
Who is going to turn it around? Because it's not entirely his fault.
Sure.
If he can get healthy, Russell Wilson is going to have.
Hold on.
Second.
Hold on.
Hold on.
You
So hold on.
started with if.
It's not his fault, which is something he can't fix. He's hurt, but it's going to get better.
Watch. This is what Russ needs to do. Russ is too humble. Russ. Listen to me, Russ.
I don't think that's the problem.
Go ahead and start getting like Aaron Rodgers and those guys and start getting.
No.
How dare Jerry Jeudy? Jerry Jeudy. You haven't done anything, Jerry Jeudy, but drop a ball when you're wide open, Jerry Jeudy. Yeah, you know, the receivers get no separation. The head coach is horrible. Your running game is bad. But Russ is a guy that can pull everybody together and say, you know what?
Nah.
We're going to start riding.
Boy, man.
Broncos team.
Here comes Gallup.
Let's ride. Forget Hackett. I'm going to start calling my own plays.
Didn't Russ
Portland,
force his way
ready.
out of Seattle because he didn't like his coach? He said, you get the coach or you get me, one of the two. His problem is not that he's humble. He could do the same thing right now, and he's not.
What I'm saying is he's too humble to the team. Tom Brady is not going to take that from Jerry Jeudy. Aaron Rodgers is not going to take that from Jerry Jeudy. Russell Wilson should not take this from Jerry Jeudy and the rest of that offense. And he should go to the coach. Say, look here, man. You don't know what the hell you're doing. I'm going to help you out. I'm going to go ahead and start calling things. That's another thing. He's like a robot out there. He's doing whatever Nathaniel Hackett calls when you know it's not going to work. You're like, look, I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to run, and I'm going to throw it. I'm going to go ahead and scramble, and I'm going to throw it. Receivers, get some damn separation. Cortland, you're okay. Jerry Jeudy, don't say a damn thing. Get some separation and catch a damn ball when I throw it to you. KJ Hamler, all he has to do is say, none of you guys put the Super Bowl ring right here on his finger. Say, none of you guys have one of these. None of you. Not even you, coach. Let me go ahead and do this my way. The only people that he needs to go ahead and be friends with is the defense. Say, you guys remind me of a Legion of Boom that I had back in Seattle. Oh, me and you, we're going to put this thing together. I'm going to go ahead and get these guys to start riding with me and not against me. Melvin, shut the hell up and don't fumble the ball. Latavius, get in here and let's ride. That's it.
I mean,
Russell Wilson going to turn it around. Going to turn it around for this second half.
Oh, my goodness.
If Russell Wilson has been playing good, KJ Hamler would have already 3 50-yard touchdowns, another touchdown at the end of the game to win. He can't seem to throw the deep ball.
Yeah, so separation doesn't matter.
Yeah,
KJ Hamler was 10 yards
Jerry
past
Jeudy.
the guy, and he had to come back, make one of the best adjustments I've ever seen to catch a ball that should have been an easy 6 last week. Yeah. Russ couldn't hit him. He was wide open at the end of the game the previous week. Russ couldn't find him.
To fix it. It's going to fix it. Trust me.
Let me just point out that you said Tom wouldn't take it, Aaron wouldn't take it. They're all 3-3.
And they're all taking it.
Yeah, but they're saying stuff. Look at that. At least Aaron Rodgers are calling guys out.
I'll at least give Russ credit on this one. He's not making an ass of himself like Aaron and Tom Brady are.
But he's getting ripped for it.
He's made an ass out of himself doing other things since he's got to Denver.
Yeah, Broncos country. Let's ride. That's killing everything right there.
Look,
that's Subway commercials.
When he walked out and was like,
Subway commercial.
Broncos country. That's right. And then he walks off. I was like, man, can you please go on media and redo that? Because you just looked horrible walking out.
Do you ever do anything dangerous?
No, I didn't do anything as dangerous as drafting Russ this season. So
have you guys seen that Subway commercial? If you haven't, make sure you. Yeah, I was gonna say that's
probably not
as cringe as it gets.
He realizes he's gonna have to get off his Hollywood horse and start getting on the football horse and start riding again. Russ got a little bit Hollywood, man. I think that's the problem. But now he's been humbled to the point where he's got to play better, or he's going to have a very rough time in Denver. I believe he has the type of personality that can go ahead, get himself back together. Like he started off at the first half of this game. I don't know what the hell happened the second half. Looked good the first half. Second half, I don't know if it was a lot of it was Hackett again, his calls. Why the hell would you run the same running play twice?
Yep. So the problem is the defense made adjustments and the offense did not.
Not the offense. Hackett did not.
The problem we're going to continue to see.
I got it right here.
But he's calling the offense.
They need to go ahead, get rid of Hackett, make the defensive coordinator the head coach, and bring in a coordinator that Russ has worked with before. I'd take Darrell Bevel right now and see if he can go in there and change his offense and do something.
Who?
Darrell Bevel.
So
you know who I'm talking about,
Talk to him.
ex-Viking guy.
So, with how bad Russ has been, is there a chance he's just pulling an Allen Robinson so that he can get his head coach fired? Is that a
Nah.
possibility? Maybe he's actually not this bad?
I don't
I
think
like it.
he's Russ isn't that type of guy.
Should we bring the commercial on?
That's the only thing I can get
Spring.
behind with this Russ.
Do y'all want to watch the Dangerous commercial?
Yes.
Yes.
No.
Oh, okay. Here we go.
Yes, we must.
I haven't seen it
let's
because it's not
present
available in Canada, I'm sure. So
It's just too Hollywood. It's too.
Yeah,
Russ
we
is
need
just-
we need a live reaction on this one.
Hold on, let me get this.
as long as my
Take a
Wi-Fi
second.
doesn't cut out, I can get you a live reaction.
I would take Russ saying anything about being dangerous rather than Baker Mayfield.
Agreed.
I'll take Russ is dangerous over Baker Mayfield's dangerous.
All right, here we go.
I mean, so far this
Ready?
season, they've both been bad. Yeah.
All right, y'all ready? Here we go. TikTok.
Hey, you want to put this Subway sandwich? It is my signature sandwich. It's dangerous, and it's dangerously good. Be careful.
My God.
Spicy. You ever done anything dangerous?
Wow.
That is dangerous.
Oh my God.
All right, leave Russ alone, man. Leave Russ alone.
I won't.
You're the one who brought Russ into this. We were having a perfectly good show.
I won't tell anybody. He whispered.
I said-
I won't tell anybody.
All I said, he's going to turn it around in this second half. There's still a chance for them, so they've got to turn it around.
Jeff, I'm gonna get
And I think Russ is gonna do it.
I'm gonna get you a custom-made Bronco jersey that says Danger Witch on the back with his number.
I'd rather you just give me one that says "Let's ride."
He said, ooh, that is dangerous. Spicy.
I won't tell anybody.
I gotta
Nothing-
say,
nothing
I've
creepy.
enjoyed
You can
this.
get- you can
I've
get the
enjoyed the
number
emotional
3.
roller coaster that Jeff's been on since Russell Wilson's departed. We've got to see all aspects of how Jeff's coped with his quarterback leaving, and I gotta be honest, I respect it. You're still riding for your quarterback, even when he's playing for
He's
another
gonna turn
team.
it around, man.
Yeah,
Yep.
so the thing is, Jeff, as someone who supported Cam Newton throughout his entire going everywhere else thing, it doesn't turn out well in the end. I'll give you the end of the story now. Doesn't turn out well.
Horrible.
He just sent me a text said, "Keep the faith, Jeff. Keep the faith."
Jerry Judy.
And another one said, "Let's ride." Don't send that one.
Oh boy.
There
Yeah,
we go.
Judy.
And this is
Yeah.
this is the alcohol-free show.
Yep.
He's gonna
Yeah.
turn it around. He's gonna turn it around.
Yeah.
But
All right.
All right. I think
about
we've
it.
heard just
Yeah.
about enough.
Yeah.
All right, I'll
Yeah.
leave it alone.
Now it's time for the show to
I'll
ride
Yeah,
off
save
the
it
I
air.
for
think-
next week. I'll save it for
Yeah.
next week.
Yeah, you can save it. I'm sure you're gonna find a way to bring Russ into the conversation next week too. Not sure what the topic's gonna be yet, but Jeff will find a way to make it about Russ.
Oh,
So
I got
let's
it, though.
end here before my Wi-Fi completely shuts
okay,
out.
okay.
Save it for next week, Jeff. That's how you'll get him in the show.
Next
Okay.
week. Yeah, there you go, Jeff. We got this. Thank you guys for joining. I hope everyone who's watching enjoyed. And I want to thank you three for being a guest. As always, I love talking football with you guys. See you again next week.
All right, thanks, Zach. See everybody next week.
All right,
Ooh,
guys.
that is dangerous.
Let's ride.
I won't tell anybody.